Well, good morning, good morning. I'm Reverend Karen Lewis. I am one of the senior ministers here at the New Vision Center, and it is my joy to be here. Those of you who are here for the first time, you might say, it's your joy and you're crying. What's up with that? You'll get used to it. We all got used to it. This is what happens when my heart is touched like by that song and by seeing how the congregation reacts to it. It just makes me cry. So, welcome to all of you who are here for the first time. Welcome to our online audience, congregation that is out there in the world. How very, very blessed we are. I had a fabulous week. Those of you who were here last week, we had a photo shoot, and I saw those pictures on a Monday, and I went and had one of them blown up. It's this big, it's in my office, and it is such a joy to go and look at it and see the beloveds who are on that picture, and also to see the beloveds who weren't there last week. You know, and they are still part of this community, and I can see them in that picture. So we will have a picture. Oh, there it is. Yes, I'll get out of the way. Yes, a big kudos to our marketing team. I understand that Ron Owen had this dream for 5 years to have a picture taken that is our teaching symbol, and there it is. We did it. So thank you to everyone. Thank you. Thank you. So we here at the New Vision Center have an annual theme. And this year's annual theme is Grounded in Love, Growing in Grace. And I love that it is the picture of a tree that rose up for us to use for this year, because we all know that it takes those roots to spread wide and deep. The wider and deeper the roots go, the stronger the branches can grow. And so we spent the first 6 weeks really looking at the basics of our teaching. What is it that we believe here at the Science of Mind? What is it that Ernest Holmes, the founder of this teaching, brought forth and that we resonate with, and how can we use it? And now for a couple of weeks, we have been going into our second season, and it's interesting to me how it is all about community. If you were here last week, Reverend Leslie talked about the inspiration of community. We had both just returned from the Centers for Spiritual Living Global Convention, and we were filled up with this feeling of that we belong to a much, much greater organization, and how amazingly New Vision Center shines within that organization. It is a bright star, let me tell you. It was such a joy to speak to people and have them say, "Oh, you're from the New Vision Center?" Yeah. We heard about you. Yeah. So we like to be a group of people that has been heard about, right? That works for us. Yeah, it does. Yeah, yes, it does. And so now for the next 3 weeks, we are actually going to deepen into this conversation of community, of belonging, of how can we grow in hearing the invitation to connect, to belong, and then how can we step into it? And I imagine it's going to be a very personal journey for each one of you, depending on where you are in your life. We are fond of our core principle, which is oneness. And what that means is wherever you are, whoever you are on your life's journey, on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. So for these next 3 weeks, I invite each one of us, wherever you are, to take these talks and perhaps allow them to call you deeper into the question, do I want to step in more? Do I feel like I belong? So those are some of the deep questions that we will contemplate. And I like to take a moment where we look around and just connect while sitting down with people who you might have not seen or people who are familiar with you, because this is an intimate journey that we are going on, and it helps to take a look around. Who's here with us? So let's just look around, acknowledge people, see people. I'll wave to those out in the world. Thank you for being here. I always say it takes each one of us, right? This talk would be very different if you would not be here, the individual you. Yes. So let us start by going onto a little time travel, because we can do that, right? So we're going to time travel back about 40 years, smack into the 1970s. We're going to go to Germany, and we're going to meet a young teenager. And this young teenager was having a rough time. Though her friends didn't know about that. See, what happened at home, her parents got a divorce in a time where that was not a common thing in Germany in the 1970s. So none of the other young teenagers had divorced parents. She had asked her dad to be allowed to go with him to a new family, and he said no. And the way this young person dealt with it was to put on a mask during the day of laughter, of joy. And at nighttime, she would cry alone. And let's travel back to last Tuesday, because you all probably figured out who that was. So let's travel back to last Tuesday, where I'm sitting with Jolene, and we are facilitating the foundations class. And one of the questions in the homework is, what is important? What one issue in the world is important for you? And I went back into my material that I did a couple of years ago when I did the foundations class. And I wrote this: creating community. My concern for the world is separation and isolation. And I am called to do whatever I can to bring an end to that. I wrote that long before I thought I would even become a minister. Long before I had any idea that this would be my community. But I wrote it at a time where this already was my community. Because I've been in this community for 12 years. And it is this community, it is this teaching that has healed me. And so it is my life's work to share these tools so that other people may have this experience. So let's take a breath. I know it can get a little serious. And this whole week I've been thinking about how can I demonstrate that one thing that I have learned is that life always puts out invitations for us to connect. We, as a center, always put out invitations to connect, right? You get the emails, you hear about Munch and Mingle, And then there are also invitations that are not quite as explicit. It is the invitation of life to live it. And so that is what we're going to explore. I have this wonderful quote by Herman Melville. "We cannot live for ourselves alone. Our lives are connected by 1,000 invisible threads, and along these sympathetic fibers, our actions run as causes and return to us as results." Love that. And isn't that a great picture? Isn't that a great picture that shows how connected we really are? And how can we make it a little bit more tangible? How can we feel in those moments when we are alone that there really is a world, a universe leaning into us, wanting us to connect? Albert Einstein was asked by a reporter one time, if you could ask the universe any question, what would you ask? And he said immediately, "Are you friendly? Are you friendly?" That would be his question to the universe. Because you see, they say that depending on how we answer that question for ourselves, directs the path of our life. If I feel that the universe is a hostile environment, well, I'm going to protect myself. I am going to make sure I'm not getting hurt. I'm going to pull back. And even if Ron invites me to something, I might say, no, I'm not going to go. Right? As opposed to if we believe that the universe is friendly, that is, conspires to our highest and best at all times. If Ron says, "Karen, you want to come?" I'm a lot more inclined to say, yes, yes. Because I don't have this deep need to protect myself. Now, this human experience is a messy one, isn't it? It is a messy one. I don't know about you, but I have gotten hurt. I have felt that people did me wrong. I have felt that I should have had that and it didn't come. So this human life is a messy one. And can we feel in every situation to that which is behind it, which is this urge of life to express through us? It's a good question. It's a good question to contemplate. Do you feel that the universe is friendly? Well, I thought let's do a little experiment. Let's take a look. This idea of that there are invitations that are explicit and that we can then see, how do I want to, respond to that? For example, if I would say, would the vision group of the New Vision Center please come and join me by forming a circle? These are the beloveds who know, oh, wait a minute, that's me. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So we're going to just start this circle. And we hold hands. And then there are invitations that are a little bit more implied, maybe. with those people who feel like they want to support this center and ensure that this place is a beacon of love for many generations to come. Please join the circle. Now, I don't know that we are going to be able to have everyone in. And those of you who are inside the circle, just remain and feel. Susan, come over here. It's closer. We'll include you. Now, here is what's going to happen. If we are forming one circle, and if all hands are touching in one circle, something is going to happen. I think you need to hold it to the end, at the end. Just the end. This is what happens when there is a community that holds hands together. This is the current that goes through each and every one of us. Now, Dawn, will you please let go of one of the hands that you're holding another with? Just let go. Yeah, this is what happens. One person deciding to not be connected, and the current is interrupted. Now, if you hold hands again, it comes back together. Thank you. Let's sit down again. Well, I wasn't so sure how that's going to work, but I'm getting the heads up. That worked. Yes. Now people get to see each other and hug on each other. Lovely. This is community, right? This is what this talk is about. This is how belonging feels. There is an invitation of life to step in, to lend a hand, to connect, to be part of something. And depending on our willingness and ableness to say, yes, we connect and we allow that current to flow. Now, do you know that we live at a time where I think it's a third of, or maybe 1 in every 5 people says that they suffer from loneliness. 1 in 5. And the times of our lives when we are particularly receptacle to loneliness is teenagers, young adults, and the other spectrum, elderlies, right? Because it takes a lot of vulnerability to say, I'm lonely. I would like to connect. And then it takes an even deeper step to connect from that place where we are our authentic self and not put on the, ta-da, everything is fine, but rather this is who I am. This is who I am. And as a community, I am so proud of us because we are walking it out, aren't we? Yes, we are walking it out. We are opening our arms and we are having conversations that who you are, wherever you are at this moment, you are welcome here. You're welcome. We heal together. We celebrate together. We support each other. We provide that net. We provide that circle that we just did. Wasn't that amazing? I wish you could have seen it from up here. It was really cool. People looking to fit in. And those of you who were in the center, did you feel supported by the circle that was forming around you? Yeah. Yes. So as we are, as a society, really moving more and more towards isolation, we come together to counterpart that movement. That's why it's so important for you to step in. Find a service team once a month, do something that gives to another. I think I have an Ernest Holmes quote. Let's see. Ernest Holmes says, "There's a creative urge back of everything you do, an urge to express life, joy, and happiness, to reach out to everything that lives as though you belong in the universe in which you live, to be one with it and have an enthusiastic zest for living. Man's nature is such that it is necessary for him to express life, to come into the fulfillment of joy and happiness, and he is disconsolate. I was able to read it yesterday when I found this quote. Disconsolate until this happens." So what that means is that we have to find ways to connect with one another. We have to find ways to experience that feeling of belonging. And how do we do that? Well, if you have ever read The Little Prince, you have an idea. So let me read this quick chapter from The Little Prince. "Good morning," said the fox. "Good morning," the little prince responded politely, although when he turned around, he saw nothing. "I'm right here," the voice said, "under the apple tree." "Who are you?" asked the little prince, and added, "You're very pretty to look at." "I'm a fox," said the fox. "Come and play with me," proposed the little prince. "I'm so unhappy." "I cannot play with you," the fox said. "I'm not tamed." "Ah, please excuse me," said the little prince. But after some thought, he added, "What does that mean, tame?" "You do not live here," said the fox. "What is it that you're looking for?" "I'm looking for men," said the little prince. "What does it mean, tame?" "Men," said the fox, "they have guns and they hunt. It's very disturbing. They also raise chickens. These are their only interests." "Are you looking for chickens?" "No," said the little prince. "I'm looking for friends. What does it mean, tame?" "It is an act too often neglected," said the fox. "It means to establish ties." To establish ties. "Just that," said the fox. "To me, you are still nothing more than a little boy who is just like 100,000 other little boys. And I have no need of you. And you, on your part, have no need of me. To you, I'm nothing more than a fox, like 100,000 other foxes. But if you tame me, then we shall need each other. To me, you will be unique in all the world. To you, I shall be unique in all the world." "I'm beginning to understand," said the prince. "There's a flower. I think she has tamed me." "It is possible," said the fox. "On the earth, one sees all sorts of things." "Oh, but this is not on earth," said the little prince. The fox seemed perplexed and very curious. "On another planet?" "Yes." "Are there hunters on that planet?" "No." "Oh, that is interesting." "Are there chickens?" "No." "Nothing is perfect," said the fox. But he came back to this idea. "My life is monotonous," the fox said. "I hunt chickens, men hunt me. All the chickens are just alike, and all the men are just alike. And in consequence, I'm a little bored. But if you tame me, it will be as if the sun comes to shine on my life. I shall know the sound of your step that will be different from all the others. Yours will call me like music out of my burrow. Other steps send me hurrying back underneath the ground. And then look, you see that grain-filled field down there? I do not eat bread. Wheat is of no use for me. The wheat fields have nothing to say to me." And that's sad. but your hair is the color of gold. Think how wonderful that will be when you have tamed me. The grain, which is also golden, will bring me back the thought of you, and I shall love to listen to the wind in the wheat. The fox gazed at the little prince for a long time. Please tame me, he said. I love that book. How different would our life be if we would be willing to tame one another, to get to know each other so much that just seeing one another would lift us up. So this week, I invite you, look for the things you would like to tame, or you already have tamed. The connections that bring you that sense of belonging. Love one another. Heal one another, just by being who you are. And so it is. And let us do what we do here. Let us anchor into prayer all this wonderful emotion that is present in this room. I invite all of the practitioners of this teaching, all ministers who are present, to please rise with me as we lean into this idea that I pray for you and you pray for me, that we are really one in the allness of life. That right here, right where I stand, is holy ground. That is the truth of where I stand, it's the truth of where you stand, it's the truth of where we find ourselves. And so we breathe into this space, feeling sweet Spirit showing up with such love. Sweet Spirit showing up as the person sitting next to us, in front of us, behind us. As we open our hearts, our minds, we really connect with the sense of belonging, of the recognition that who I am is whole, perfect, and complete. And I trust this life enough to open my hands, to open my hearts to another. I'd like to bring into this prayer all of the people who have placed a prayer request via the website or in the prayer chest out in the foyer. That all of those prayer requests are heard with an open heart, are prayed about, are held up into the light. How very grateful I am to know the power of this word, to know the power of this community, that it is a beacon in the world, that it is revealing love through every action, every word, every connection. Thank you, life. Thank you, life. And so it is.